Welcome back to Fixing Up in association with Amazon. My name's Danny.
And I'm Clive.
And we're here at the Practical Classics workshop working on our Project T4 day van.
We're on the home straight now. Previously, when we checked over our T4, we had to use our NOCO booster to get it started. We've also done a full service using Liqui Moly oils and changed the cam belt and starter motor. Then we cleaned up and sealed the underside, sorted out the bodywork issues and built a beautiful interior after a bit of a struggle to get it all in.
Clive's got the list of jobs. What have we got to do, Clive?
Well, we've got to sort out those tyres, because they've had it, sort out the chip in the windscreen.
Yep.
On top of that, we've got other things that need doing, like sort out the bumpers.
Plus anything else that rears its ugly head as well. So, we'd better get to it. So the time has come at last for us to sort the bumpers out, and I'm using a restoration product, not a dressing, and we think this is longer lasting and probably a better solution. Already it's beginning to look really, really good. And it shouldn't take too long before these bumpers are looking much, much better.
Yeah, no, it's pushing it in.
And then pulling it down.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's not.
Okay, one of the many little irritating jobs we're going to need to do to get this van sold properly is to sort out the side door, which is becoming increasingly difficult to open and close. We're going to clean out the channels that the runners go into. We're going to lubricate them up. We're also going to poke the rubber seal back into its housing properly, because at the moment it's getting in the way of a nice smooth action. But Clive's on that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what you can see on the side wall of a tyre, okay? Because it's really important when you're checking your tyres. You want to be looking for a very small, usually lozenge-shaped imprint on the tyre. It's got two numbers here, 52 and 13. And that means that the tyre was made in the 52nd week of 2013, which basically means it's nearly 10 years old. And I reckon when a tyre's 10 years old, time to get a new tyre. Let's have a look at the tread. To pass an MOT, tread depth needs to be 1.6 millimetres, but I'd change a tyre way before then. These look to me to be about 3 or 4 millimetres. That's fine. However, with the age, I'd be replacing this tyre. The next thing you want to check is all the way around the tyre. Run your hands all the way around it to see if there's any bulges or any deformations or any cuts or splits. And then finally, you want to be looking into the edge of the tyre in particular to see if it's got any cracks, this one has, or if it's got uneven wear, which means the tracking might be out. If you've got any of these problems with your tyre, get new tyres. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So the paint that I've painted before, it's been curing now for a while, but it's still a little bit tacky. So we're going to be really careful when we're fitting it in, and we're going to put it in that side first. Brilliant. And I'm going to come around this side. I'm going to have to push it in slightly just to go onto the clips. That's not bad at all. So when I went and bought the van, one of the first things I noticed when I got down underneath it was the fact that the under tray was missing. Now, that might not seem like much of a problem, but when you look at this van, the alternator is hanging down right at the front of the engine bay, and that means you drive along behind a lorry in a rainstorm for too long, it will have an effect. So it's really important to get an under tray for this, and we bought one on Amazon. It wasn't very expensive, it's aftermarket. The original one, the trays were metal, this one's plastic, it just means it's easier to fit. So we're going to put it on now. Up we go, Clive. That's a little bit of a fiddle. You've got to get the front lip in first, and then we're going to go up, line up the holes, and we should be able to get our, that's it, our nuts onto the threads here. And that's about as tight as you'll want it. That's great. So that's the under tray on. Now it's time to go and get our brand new tyres.
Getting your tyres fitted with Amazon is simple. Choose the tyres you need and then click on Installation to choose an approved service provider. Just select the date and time you want them fitted, and the tyres are delivered direct to the installer. Once they reach the selected garage, just drive there on the selected appointment date and get your new tyres fitted.
As you can see, we've got a pretty nasty little stone chip on the middle of our screen, so I'm going to employ a stone chip repair kit that I bought from Amazon. And the first part of it is to clean that area, which I've done, and start scraping out any loose residual bits of glass that might have accumulated there, and also any little bits of dirt as well, because you want this to be completely clean. I've got these suckers right here, and what I need to do is position them over the damage. Once they're there, I'm going to put pressure on each one of them down onto the glass to make sure that they stick. So now it's time to introduce this. I'll call it the plunger. It's got a little silicone head on it, and as you wind it in, you should begin to feel it and see it touching the glass. And it's really important that it's quite firmly touching it. It's also got a secondary pressure pusher which pushes the silicone head further into the damage. The resin is going into those cracks. And so I'm seeing now a lot less of the damage than I saw when we started. So now it's time to take off the bracketry, remove the centre plunger first. You've got this curing film here. Drop a couple of drops of resin onto it and then place that onto the repair. With your razor blade, the back of it, move it up and down and get rid of any air bubbles.
What are you doing?
I'm just preparing this pad for detailing the van once it passes its MOT.
There's confidence for you. Mind you, Danny, when you think about it, we've welded it, we've put new tyres on, it's had a full service,
yeah.
We've been right through it, so it does stand a fair chance of passing, doesn't it?
I think it does. We've got one more thing to do. We've just got to finish off that chip on the windscreen, and then we're good to go. So the resin needs around an hour in direct sunlight to cure properly. Now I'm going to rip off the clear plastic coating. So the next bit involves a razor blade and a windscreen, two things you wouldn't necessarily want to put together. But as long as you keep the blade at 90 degrees to the screen, all it'll do is take off the film. So you can actually hear when it becomes smooth, when you've got rid of all the residue from the screen. Now that is the repair done, you can still see it, but it's nothing like as bad as it was, and I think that'll get us through an MOT. So, the van is in for an MOT. I mean, I'm quite nervous, but I'm actually quite excited as well. I want to see what our local MOT station thinks about our handiwork. Anyway, fingers crossed, we'll get a ticket at the end of this. Well,
Tell me.
it's a pass!
Hurrah!
Yeah, fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it means all that hard work's paid off then.
Yeah, I think it has. One advisory for a very small blemish on the windscreen, because I couldn't get rid of the entirety of that chip, but it turned it from a fail all the way to an advisory, which is great news.
Fantastic.
Quite relieved, to be honest.
Yeah.
He said your welding was really terrible though, mate.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, everybody says that.
It really said it was great. Well, that's a bit of a result, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you think we'd done it before, Danny? And by the way, what is that thing round your neck?
Well, I'm feeling happy and festive, aren't I? Remember, all the parts and tools you've seen featured in Fixing Up in association with Amazon are all available on Amazon. They're just a click away. You know what to do. And next time on Fixing Up, we're going to be focusing on the all-important details, the things that are hopefully going to achieve a really good price when we come to sell it. See you then.